For voters who don't know you, can you just kind of introduce yourself, a little bit about your background, and what makes you qualified to represent them in Congress?
Sure. I'm Elissa Slotkin. I'm the current representative of Michigan's 8th District, so Ingham, Livingston, and North Oakland County. Before I ran for the first time in 2018, I was really pretty apolitical. I was a former CIA officer and Pentagon official. I did 3 tours in Iraq alongside the military, married to a military officer who I met in Baghdad. And I have 2 stepdaughters, both in service. One's an Army officer and the other one's a physician for the VA. So for me, running for office was just a way to continue my service, and at a time when our country is just going through something.
Mm-hmm. And so, as your time in Congress, what's something that that you've done that you're most proud of and you want voters to know about?
Yeah, I mean, for me, if you're a representative of Michigan, you have to be talking about protecting and expanding the middle class, right? We invented the middle class in Michigan, this idea that you could work on the line at an auto plant and then afford the car that you were building, and the middle class is just getting squeezed. So one of the things I'm most proud of is related to our economic security, and that's passing the CHIPS Act, right? We all know that those tiny microchips that probably everyone has in their pocket, we make 0% of those in the United States, and it's affecting, sure, supply chain issues and how long it takes to get things, but then our auto plants. I mean, they've been on again, off again for almost 2 years. So I'm a big believer in making chips in the United States, preferably in Michigan. So we passed the CHIPS Act in August, and it incentivizes an American industry on microchips, and it prohibits those companies, if they take $1 of American taxpayer dollars, from building in places like China.
You kind of mentioned the economy a little bit there. That's a big key issue for voters. Inflation is the highest it's been in decades. Yeah. Voters feeling the pain in the grocery store, at the gas pump. What do you believe can be done and should be done, to bring it under control?
Yeah, I mean, look, inflation's affecting every single family I know. I don't know one person who hasn't changed their spending habits because of inflation. So there's no walking away from that. I think the question is, when you're a leader and your country's got this amount of inflation, do you use it as a talking point? Do you use it as a cudgel? Are you sort of gleeful because the economy is so bad, or do you actually try to work on doing something? So I've tried to attack the underlying problem, which is gas prices. And for me, I've sponsored the bill to suspend the federal gas tax. That would take 19 cents off a gallon of every gas. I have pushed to the president to open up the Strategic National Reserve, get more supply. And then number 3, I've, especially lately, really pushed on getting tougher with Saudi Arabia and other countries who are clearly profiting off of this kind of demand for gas. And then we work on taking costs off people's plates. In August, we passed a bunch of prescription drug legislation, caps the price of insulin for seniors at $35, caps the amount that seniors pay per year in drug costs, and allows Medicare finally to negotiate drug prices. So we take costs off people's books when inflation is, as you say, extremely high.
Mm-hmm. And switching now to a recent poll that was from the Pew Research Center that said 60% of voters said violent crime is very important to them this election cycle and the 2022 congressional race. What should Congress do to help voters feel safer?
Yeah, I mean, we need to fund and refund the police, right? It's the opposite of what you hear on TV. And I represent Lansing. We've spent a ton of time dealing with the spike in gun violence in the city of Lansing. And so I worked very hard to get $1.3 million to the Lansing Police Department for them to hire more social workers and get more training on crisis intervention. So to me, it's about making sure that we have well-resourced police forces that are well-trained. In our rural communities, they literally cannot hire police officers right now. So we passed a bill through the House just in September to bring money into the smallest police stations, so 125 officers or less. So we need to make sure we're resourced to deal with what is going on nationwide on crime.
You mentioned gun violence. What do you believe as far as gun control? What should Congress do, if anything, to kind of change the current gun control legislation? Yeah,
I mean, I'm the representative of Oxford, Michigan, where we had a school shooting last November. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. It's just a traumatizing, horrible thing. And I think rational people can be rational about gun safety. You know, I grew up with guns. I grew up on a farm with lots of guns. I carried a Glock and an M4 on my 3 tours in Iraq, and my husband carries a weapon every day he was deployed. So I'm not against guns, but this idea that somehow you can either be a gun owner or care about protecting our children in schools, that it has to be either or, I reject that. So for me, it starts with responsible gun ownership. I am the sponsor of the Safe Storage Act. Like, just if you have children in the home, you should safely store your weapon. And if a child uses that weapon to commit a crime like murder, then you can be held criminally liable, right? It's basically directly taken from the Oxford experience. We don't have that in law right now. I also think that raising the age for someone buying a semi-automatic to 21 years old, given how many young people carry out these school attacks with a semi-automatic under the age of 21, I think is just reasonable. And I just think having a conversation that starts in protecting our kids, since right now gun violence in the United States is the #1 killer of people under 21. So you either care about dealing with that issue or you don't. I think it's a big seam between myself and my opponent, but after going through a school shooting, representing Lansing with a gun violence problem, you can't say that we can do nothing.
And switching to another issue that's kind of divisive among voters this election cycle, abortion. Since overturning Roe v. Wade, it's kind of been pushed to the states a bit. It's on the ballot here, proposal here in Michigan. So what are your opinions on abortion, and do you think it's something that should be decided at a federal level?
Well, look, I was against the overturning of Roe v. Wade by the Supreme Court. They made that decision. We wouldn't be having this conversation. You wouldn't be asking me about this if that hadn't been overturned at the federal level by the Supreme Court. In Michigan, we have a 1931 total ban on abortion on our books. So it created a situation where that kind of total ban is out of step with the actual health needs of women and families in this state. So I'm glad it's on the ballot. I'm voting for Proposition 3. It codifies Roe and gives us the right to have an abortion up to the point of viability. And then after that, with the advice of a medical doctor, right? If you have a late-term problem where the woman's life is at risk, that's Roe. It also guarantees a woman's right to make her own decisions on contraception, and then importantly on in vitro fertilization. These are things that the Supreme Court put on the chopping block. So I think Michigan is doing the responsible thing, and I know it's a sensitive issue, and certainly my district identifies largely as pro-life, but I can't tell you how many Republican women, independent women, Democratic women will pull me aside and have those private conversations about how they, were in the middle of a miscarriage and they needed a DNC. They desperately wanted a child and couldn't carry it. Those stories are real life. 1 in 4 women have a miscarriage in this country. So if you want to go on and have children, beautiful children, you often need these procedures that would be outlawed under Michigan state law. So I think it's a kitchen table issue, and I think our state is going to do the right thing and support it.
And moving, sorry, we keep going one topic to the next, but keep moving on to infrastructure. What do you think are some key investments that need to be made here in Michigan, and how are you going to fight to make sure that those investments are made in our state?
Yeah, so I voted on the bipartisan infrastructure bill last November at the federal level. It was a bipartisan bill. I'm not sure where my opponent landed on that, but I certainly supported it, as did a lot of Democrats and Republicans. And that's going to bring over the next decade about $10 billion for infrastructure. I'm literally coming from a construction site here in Lansing at the 496 interchange, which is both state and federal dollars, using that to repair a really beat up part of major infrastructure here. So I think it's one thing to talk about infrastructure. It's another thing to actually vote affirmatively for it. The other project that I feel very passionately about is rural broadband, frankly, broadband internet. We should be able to get broadband internet in every corner of Michigan, including the UP, with all the federal dollars that are coming in. And we just know after COVID, it is a utility. It is infrastructure. We can't have our businesses, we can't have our kids engaging in a way without broadband internet. It just doesn't make sense. So that's, to me, one that I've been a real passionate person for.
Sure. Are there any other issues that you want, that are important that you want to bring up, or I guess anything else you want voters to know before they head to the polls?
So I think, we have a decision to make about our economic security in this state. we have to make a decision about whether we want to build the next generation of cars, those electric vehicles, whether we want to be the home of the next generation of advanced manufacturing, or whether we're okay with those jobs and those industries going out of state and overseas. And I know where I land. Maybe in contrast with my opponent, I really believe those jobs are going to go somewhere. I want them here in Michigan. If you're an American company, and you're going to choose between building here or building in China, where it's cheaper labor, I want you building here. And I have been willing to be upfront about that, in contrast to my opponent, who's voted 5 times against a local GM EV battery factory, a new factory right here, ground up, 5,000 jobs across the state. To me, between that and the CHIPS Act, after COVID, we just have sort of an existential question to answer. Do we want to build that next generation of cars or not? And if you do, then you got to build that stuff here. You got to compete for it here. And I want it here in Michigan and not overseas.